Okay guys, I have about an hour and a half as my kids are watching a movie at grandma's, and I'm gonna go plant shopping at one of my favorite places, and I'm gonna take you with me. Let's go together to Growers Outlet. I might make this a series if you guys are interested, and we'll just go plant shopping at all of my favorite local Atlanta places. This is going to be kind of Atlanta centric, and most of these places don't ship. So I don't know. I'd love to shine a spotlight on the great places to buy plants in Atlanta, but also recognize that not everyone lives here. Let me know in the comments if you think this will be fun, because I love plant shopping, so I would love to go with you.
Growers Outlet is located up 78 outside of Metro Atlanta in Loganville, Georgia. I'm pretty sure this is a family-owned business. Their nursery is also located in Loganville, Georgia, and so they're able to keep their prices low because you're buying direct from the grower.
Once I get a parking spot, we'll go inside and I'll show you what all the fuss is about Growers Outlet.
Highly recommend going first thing in the morning. The overflow lot was full. Found a parking spot, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
I feel like with most nurseries, they kind of specialize in something, whether it's perennials or annuals or conifers or edibles, but Growers Outlet seems to carry it all. They've even started carrying houseplants, which I'm trying not to get into because I'm addicted to enough plants. But it's just this place where you can get affordable perennials, shrubs, trees, anything you need at such a great price. And I think that they're strategically located outside of Metro Atlanta because you get that outlet effect where you're like, I'm only going to come here 2 to 3 times a year, so I need to fully load up to make the trip worth it. And so even though I really don't need anything for the garden and I kind of just came to browse and maybe pick up 1 or 2 things, that's how I end up with a full cart every time. You guys, I'm in trouble. I just got here and my cart's already almost full. None of this was on my list. This is really a no-frills shopping experience. You're not going to find a bunch of folks around helping you or answering questions about plants. This is a place that if you want to come to, do your research ahead of time. Their website is amazing. It has all of their prices, all of their availability, as well as information about the plants. So you can kind of create your list and go off of that. But I will be honest, I've never, ever been able to stick to a list here. If I was to pick maybe my top 3 things that I like to look at / get at Growers Outlet, it would be camellias. They have a huge selection of camellias. Secondly, it would be their selection of shady perennials. They've got a great selection of hostas, ferns, astilbes, trichurtis. Anything that you kind of want is there. Lastly, I think it would be their selection of shrubs. They've got a great selection of azaleas and hydrangeas and roses. They're carrying a huge selection of proven winners, shrubs, and plants this year.
I know. I'm lucky to have a nursery like this around.
All right, guys, my cart is full, which means it's time to get out of here. I'll show you what I got at home.
This is a trunk of somebody who stayed in control, right? Right. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Did you see those prices?
Okay, so it's plant haul time. I want to walk through all the things that I got and where I think I'm going and why I picked them up. Sushi is showing off Veronica. So I picked up 5 of these snow candles, Veronica. They bloom white in that beautiful upright manner. I love tall, spiky flowers, and Veronica in my garden, for whatever reason, does much better for me than salvias. These up to go in the front garden where I lost some Gara last year, so this will replace that. Veronica also has the benefit of having a really long bloom season. In my garden, I noticed Veronica has a very long bloom season. You kind of cut it back once it's done with its first set of spikes, and it just keeps resetting and going and going. And that's something that I look for in the front garden, as I don't really do too many annuals. And so Veronica is going to keep that show going with that reset period, obviously, but at least it'll come back year after year. So this next one is one that I've almost ordered so many times, but I've closed out the shopping cart. That is Amsonia String Theory. I have other varieties of Amsonia and they do great. They're an early to mid-spring bloomer, which is great for that time of year where other things might not be coming into bloom yet. Reason that I got Amsonia String Theory is for its fall foliage. See that? It turns that bright yellow. So yes, it does bloom, but it also has another season of interest. Plus, it has this very interesting foliage that just looks different from other things. So I got 3 of these. I have faith that this will do pretty well since I grow other Amsonia varieties. So I just went ahead and got 3 of these. This will be a little hedge leading up to the garden. So I'm excited. This gets about 18 to 22 inches, so you could use this as a front of the border plant, or you can sneak a little something in front of it and create a second layer. This next one is a variegated dwarf trailing gardenia. So basically think of this as like a ground cover shrub, so it trails out instead of grows up. It just looks so beautiful. The blooms and the variegated foliage sold me. As you can see behind me, I've got a sloped space, so I've got a lot of use for ground covers that trail like this. Blooms looked like they were almost full size, and they weren't that daisy type, but they were the double kind. So if you've ever smelled gardenia blooms, you know why I add gardenia to the garden. It is like heaven. This will be going up on a slope to help with erosion, and I will keep you updated as to how it grows. One is American Dream Coreopsis. My kids love pink bloom. Coreopsis that I had planted by the patio didn't come back this year, so I thought I'd replace it with these pink blooms. Coreopsis is a great perennial, but I find it's kind of a short-lived perennial. It blooms its head off all season, but it does only seem to come back for about 3 years, and then it just kind of disappears. So it's definitely not a forever perennial, but it is one that does put on a really good show, and I feel like is worth adding to the garden. You just might have to replace it every couple of years or so. This is Eucomis tugela ruby. This one just looked too fun to pass up. I have no idea how it does in the garden. It was really reasonably priced, so I went ahead and picked up 3. It just looked very beautiful. Like I said, I'm a sucker for upright blooms, so I actually have no idea where this would go in the garden, but it just looked so fun, and I'd love to and I wanted to pick it up to see how it goes. So I'll let you know throughout the season how it grows, if it's well behaved, and if it comes back next year. But this just seemed like a fun one to pick up and try. So, you know, you always have those that just kind of fall into your cart and come home with you. And this happened to be it. So there's my plant haul. I have a very perennial heavy garden because I feel like they give you the most bang for your buck. I'll grab a couple of annuals for containers, but for the most part, I focus on perennials. I try to focus on adding perennials that have some sort of interest for multiple seasons, whether it's foliage or they're repeat bloomers, but that's how you really get the most bang for your buck and create an interesting garden that looks good across multiple seasons. Over the next few days, I will be planting these. You'll see updates on how they grow in the monthly garden tours. So I post an update of my backyard garden every month so you can see kind of what's blooming, what's doing well, what isn't doing well. That's kind of where I walk and talk through all of that. Additionally, I share weekly videos that's either about garden maintenance, garden care, or garden tips. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I hope you subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.